I think we should talk about the rights of a contractor that doesn't get paid and the concept of the mechanics lien. And I think Aubrey, she's become our resident mechanics lien attorney, and she can speak a lot about it. And I want her to, touch on this point from both mainly from the contractor perspective, but I could talk about some defenses to it from the owner's
As a
perspective.
layperson, you're going from general contracting to automotive. What's this mechanics lien thing?
So the mechanics lien is, you can get it on automobiles, but you can also get it on homes. And it's for when someone's provided services to you and you haven't paid. And so you can get what's basically called a lien on their property. And it's the way it works is this lien attaches to the property. It says you owe, that the person that owns the house owes me X amount of dollars. And that lien stays with the prothonotary. It's searchable if someone's pulling the title or the deed. And if that person is going to go sell their house anytime soon, especially if it's, a new build and it's a development company and they own this property, they need to sell these houses. Well, if they're not paying their contractor and the contractor puts a lien, when they go to close, that lien has to be satisfied or they're not going to be able to transfer the title to the homeowner.
And at that point, if you've gotten that lien on there, right, if there was an opportunity for negotiation or anything like that, that's gone, because once the sale happens, the money's just forwarded on to the contractor, right, to the damaged parties.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I think that,
I'm getting a sense that in the legal space, everything is yes and no.
It depends.
That's right. So the concept of a mechanics lien, and this is important to set up for the audience, the concept of a mechanics lien is that most cases, if I'm suing you for something, before there's a lien or a judgment that says you owe me money, we have to go through the whole entire process, right?
Okay.
We have to get in front of a judge or a jury, and the jury has to find that you owe me money. The mechanics lien process shortcuts that process. It basically says you've given me enough information to establish that this person probably owes you money. We're going to put a lien on their property, and then you guys can resolve whether or not they actually owe you that money.
Okay.
And so when you ask the question of whether or not,
Right,
that's it, it's
sale,
over,
yeah.
It's not necessarily over, but what it does is it adds pressure to whoever's owning the house, because if they want to sell it or refinance it, right, the bank won't let you refinance it until the liens are paid off either. So if they want to sell it or refinance it, what they have to do is they have to deal with all the people that have a lien on the property.
So it prohibits you completely you can't make the transaction, or do you make the transaction and then the money gets pulled aside and lives somewhere until it gets resolved?
It's the second. It's
Okay.
basically that money needs to be paid out of the closing price or of the refinance, right? So if you have a simple example, if you have a $500,000 house, somebody's got a lien on it for $100,000, you sell it for $500,000, you're really only getting $400,000. That person should get their $100,000, or it gets deposited into the court. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And where Aubrey was going with this is it incentivizes having the conversation now.
Got it.
Right. But there's very strict standards around whether or not you can get a mechanics lien. And I'm going to,
And what are those? What are those strict standards?
So first of all, there's a timeline on it. And so it goes from the day that you substantially complete the work. So if you're a contractor, you built the house is, 99% there, and there's a punch list, and maybe you go back, a month or two after the house is complete, and you complete that punch list. The day that you start counting is the day that you substantially completed the house, not the last time you were there to make a repair or fix something. And the timeline is 6 months to file a lien. If you do not file the lien within that time, it can get stricken. And
so you don't have to wait 6 months to file it. You have to file it within the 6 months
right.
from that time.
As soon as you finish the project, it could be building a whole house. It could be remodeling, a portion of the house. As soon as you finish the project, if you haven't been paid, that is when the time starts ticking.
Got it. And does the term, just thinking back to the 13 points, I'm thinking of like the 10 commandments, but like the 13 points for the proper contractual GC. In that environment, you have to have those things in place in order to be in a position to get the mechanics lien. Is
not necessarily.
Okay, so you could still, if you've made the mistake of not having a proper contract, you might still be okay.
Yes. So if you can show that they owe you this money, either through emails or through payments, if you're sending them an invoice and they're paying on the invoice, maybe it's not an actual contract, but it's still showing a balance. And so you have some sort of proof of what you're owed. And so you use that to establish your lien. Because the lien goes before, as Anton was saying, before you actually can get a judgment, and kind of it puts the cart before the horse, everything that's in that statute must be strictly followed. If you vary off of any of the requirements, your lien can get stricken.
Okay. So we just say this a lot when we have these episodes. Hire an attorney, right? But so you got to get an attorney in. Is there a time frame? So for example, I've got this 6-month clock that I got to get this lien in. I get my documents to an attorney. Does it take the attorney, even if you could turn it around in 24 hours, the processing of it, is there a certain amount of time that I need to, you know what I mean? Like if I start at 5 months and 10 days, am I probably not going to make that 6-month time frame? Like what should I consider in terms of my real lead time?
If you're a general contractor, I would say you want to contact us within 2 to 3 months of not being paid. Ideally, contact us sooner than that, but within 2 to 3 months, we can probably get it in. If you are a subcontractor, you are also required to send a notice of intent to lien to the homeowner. And you have to do that and give the homeowner 30 days to respond, because generally, the homeowner might not know that the subcontractor is owed money, because a lot of times the GC is handling all that. So you have to give the homeowner notice of what's owed. And there's very specific things that have to be in the notice as well. And so you need to, you need the property address, you need the amount owed, things like that. And once you send that notice, after the 30 days, you can file the mechanics lien. Once you file the mechanics lien, it has to be served. It has to be served. There's very specific people that can serve it. Sometimes in limited instances, you can have, the processor, or like you see in the movies, goes out, you've been served. Yep. Other times it has to be the sheriff. And if you don't do that correctly, your lien can be struck. Once you serve the lien, you have a very limited amount of time to get the affidavit of service on the record. And if you don't serve it within the certain amount of time, or you don't get it back onto the, filed within the certain amount of time, again, it can be struck.
Wow. So that is a lot of requirements just to get paid when you're due, or to get, not even get paid, just to get the lien on and maintain the lien.